What's going on, everyone? Kurt Weidner here in the Team Animal Training Compound Sunday afternoon. Got my afternoon cup of joe, and as you can see, that's in a Core Nutritionals tumbler, stainless steel. I think this is like 16 ounce. I love this mug. This thing's awesome. By the way, I'm a sponsored athlete for Core Nutritionals. If you're not familiar with them, definitely go to the website. I'll post it below in the description. Check out their comprehensive line of both supplements and apparel. Good stuff like these lifestyle t-shirts you see me wearing a lot. Core Nutritionals. Anyway, so today what I want to talk about is single leg squats and why you should do them. All right. Single leg squats is something that I feel that pretty much anybody can benefit from, regardless of whether you're an athlete, you're somebody who's looking to improve your performance in the big lifts in the gym, like the squat and deadlift, or if you're somebody that is trying to rehab a knee injury, like I recently have been. Let's start with the first mentioned group there. Athletes. If you're an athlete, and I don't care whether you're a soccer player or a football player or a wrestler, basketball player, hockey player, think about the amount of time you spend during your athletic endeavor in a single leg position. So your ability to be strong, stable, and proficient from a single leg position is going to be paramount to success in that endeavor. All the more reason to include that as part of your training. Okay? If you're somebody who is like, let's say you're interested in building your squat, you're building your deadlift. The stronger and more stable you can be on a single leg, the better you're going to be with two legs. All right? A single leg squat is going to quickly expose any balance, stability, strength, or mobility deficits that you have. Some things that may go unnoticed in a regular squat, as far as your form mobility issues, become very apparent when you go to single leg. All the more reason to do them, and then you can isolate the issue and work towards improving and correcting it. All right. One of the most common issues that people face in a squat is from a form standpoint, as far as a form breakdown that you see, that can lead to injuries. It's both a lack of efficiency in the short run and also injuries in the long run is knee caving. When you see this happen. And knee caving can be a result of one of two things, both things that need to be addressed, and both the things that the single leg squat can help identify. It's generally something that's going on either above the knee or below the knee, not actually at the knee. So the first has to do with foot and ankle stability. So before you actually try doing single leg squats, you should actually test your stability on a single foot. So are you able to stand on one foot with stability, okay, and maintain that tripod in your foot? And so by that I mean, if you think of there being 3 points on your foot, okay, I think kind of like if you remember what the Terminator looked like when all of his flesh was gone, he was just the robot version of him. He had like 3 points, and think about how stable his foot was when a 400-pound machine clanked down on the ground. It was stable as hell. Well, that's how you want your foot to be, like a tripod that's set and extremely stable. So if you're standing on one foot, okay, and you're kind of like doing this, and you're I think it's pronating out on like this, or your arch is collapsing, neither of those is ideal. You want to be able to stay on that foot, okay, and be able to just not move and stand there. So that would be the first step on a stable surface. So the second step, if you can do that, okay, then you have stable surface with movement. I'm setting my tripod, and I'm going to put my foot over here, over here, over here, okay, and I'm going to move around and keep that tripod, okay, keep that the stability of my foot. Now, if you get to the point where that's not an issue, then what you can do is unstable surface, which will challenge you a little more, okay? So you want to be able to just stand there, and this is going to force you to make little corrections, okay? And then you can start including movement, Okay, put the foot in different positions. So from there we go to actually doing a single leg squat. All right, and then like I said, you can do a single leg squat just like that, and then you can start including the same movements I was just talking about before, where you're squatting, moving your foot in different positions, and forcing your body to basically adapt to that. So if you have any type of foot ankle stability issues, that can, for instance, the arch collapsing in, that can be a reason that the knee is caving when you squat. Whether you're doing it with a single leg or a double leg, it's going to be worse with a single leg. So obviously you want to work on building that foot and ankle stability. So the other issue has to do with external hip rotation. Okay, and by that I mean this. One of two things. Either you have a mobility issue in which you have trouble actually externally rotating, which can be identified with something called a Faber test, where you're basically lying on the ground and you let your bring your foot up across your knee and have the knee out. And if you are identifying that one knee doesn't fall as low as the other side, and you have restricted mobility on that, then that's something you need to work on. There's stretches and mobility things that you can do to help with that. For instance, one thing that I've incorporated in, and a lot of this I get, by the way, from this book that I've been reading, Rebuilding Milo. Great reference tool for really any strength athlete. I highly recommend it. So a lot of the things you'll hear me talk about are things that I might have known some of it already, but I get a lot of it, or a lot of it is reinforced from this tool. Anyway, going back to external hip rotation, great stretch I've started incorporating more of. Okay, putting the side of my ankle flat, bringing the knee down, chest up. You see the back leg is straight. I don't want to let my core collapse, so I want to stay nice and upright. But that's a good stretch out here. Another one that I always like to do, especially on squat day, drop your hips down. Okay, get inside your knees with your elbows, and then as I drive them out, I drive my chest up. Okay, keep my back nice and straight. And again, that's good for hip opener. So part of it has to do with mobility. The other part of it if you're having trouble with external hip rotation, it can have to do with actually actively engaging those muscles and getting them to fire when you need them to, getting them to actually turn on. And Aaron Horschig in his book talks about something called an RNT split squat, which is a reactive neuromuscular training. Essentially, what you're doing is if you already have a propensity for that knee to cave inward, what you're actually going to do by attaching a band to that leg, okay, you're actually going to exacerbate the force that's acting on that knee so that you have to actively engage the muscles here, like your medial glute, to drive that knee out and keep it from collapsing. And the more you get that muscle to engage, okay, the more you're able to keep this knee in line with the foot as you're doing a squat. So you're like this rather than allowing this to happen. It's similar to using a hip circle when you do other squat exercises, but this is going to be magnified because you're doing it with a single leg. So there's a lot more tendency, if you have any knee cave, when you do that single leg position, you're really going to see it. You're going to see that knee cave, and so you have to work that much harder on engaging those muscles. So hip mobility and glute engagement to get that external hip rotation. 3 things to focus on with the single leg squat that are the most important things. As I talked about in the beginning, that stable foot. Thinking about that tripod in your foot and being on that and being super stable there. Okay? Second thing is the direction of the knee. So my foot's facing here. I want that knee pointing in the direction. you think of the midpoint between my big toe and my little toe right here, during that entire squat, I want my knee pointing that same direction. I don't want it over here. I don't want it over here. So regardless of where I am in that squat, okay, I want my knee pointing in line with right there on my foot, okay? Making sure that you're engaging those glute muscles. Last thing, and this is easy to lose track of, but if you start thinking about all this stuff you're doing with your lower body, it's easy to stop bracing and allow your back to round. If you're doing this to improve your performance with, your big lifts like your squat and deadlift, you have to do the same stuff. So even though I'm doing a single leg squat with body weight, no weight here added, I need to brace, I need to keep my back straight, keep my core involved. So when I'm doing that single leg squat, I want to be here. My chest is up, my back is straight, okay? I'm not doing this. I'm not allowing my shoulders and chest to collapse forward, because you wouldn't want to do that in a squat with 300 pounds in your back, so don't do it here, all right? Your body position should always reflect the same way you treat your big movements. So, you can do these straight on a flat ground, flat surface. As you become more comfortable, a way that you can make them harder is to do elevated single leg squats. And so you can see here I have 55-pound plates, and if you're having like knee issues where your knee hurts, you may have to start with a single 55-pound plate. I've had right knee issues for a while. I've basically been rehabbing it for a matter of months. The right knee is getting better, and I've continued to elevate my positioning on these to the point where this is now at about, a 15-inch deficit. I'm not quite there with the right knee, but the left knee is pretty decent, okay, as far as strength and stability. So stable foot, brace the core, stay nice and straight. I want to come down and be able to touch my heel to the ground, all my weight's on my left leg, and then come up and basically be able to do controlled sets of like 10, 12, 15 reps like this. And being able to do this is really going to strengthen your legs. It's going to keep your knees in really good shape, and you're going to benefit with everything that you do. Of course, if you get like this, you get to the point where you raise that up as high as you want, and then you can start adding weight. You can put a vest, you can hold a plate or a dumbbell or something in front of you. So anyway, single leg squats, something that I think you should do. Everybody can benefit. Get after it. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Like and subscribe. If you got questions, put them in the comments below. Till next time, enjoy.